Hello my friends, I'm Rick and this will be my second attempt, maybe my third attempt. Yeah, I brushed my hair, but it ain't making a bit of damn difference. And I don't put hair gel, other crap in my hair. I had my headphones on a little bit ago and it just kind of messes with the hair anyway. Jesus. I've always had funky hair, right? It's a little too late and it's getting too close to winter for me to go get a haircut, but it definitely needs it. I wear a lot of stocking caps and stuff at work and glasses. I always push my glasses and stuff up. You know, I'm one of these guys kind of thing, and it takes its toll on the. Anyway, I was partway through this video getting started on it, and the video quality started to get interrupted. It started seeing streaks and other stuff going through the screen, and I don't know what that's about. So I went ahead and shut everything off, and then restarted the computer to reset it. And I also disconnected the headphones because what I got here is I got this little aftermarket gizmo that you plug in, and it has to be plugged into the wall, and then you would then plug the camera and your headphone and stuff, because this particular model of laptop only has one USB port, or two, but one of them is always dominated by my wireless mouse, and you know, it would be nice if it had more than the two that it does. Anyway, so we're going to restart it, which we really didn't miss much because I spent the first 5 minutes of crying, like I tend to do about crap. So we are looking at cycle 17 of the game Not Traveled, or my would-be Interstellar Frontiers. Once again, Steve has been sending more artwork in. You've seen quite a bit of his computer-generated, AI-assisted artwork that he's been doing. I appreciate the work he's doing. Steve is dealing with some medical issues in his life, and this gives him an outlet to do stuff, and I fully understand it. I appreciate it. I'm empathetic to it. I wish I was a bit more proactive, a bit like I said, between the weird hours and being tired half the damn time. That these weird hours take you're never not tired. It's just a level of being tired. Like I said in previous videos, finally the truck is at the mechanic. Dropped it off yesterday afternoon to get that transmission replaced. They're saying hopefully Friday or Saturday, by Saturday morning, hopefully. I have no faith in that. I expect it'll probably be Monday. I might get lucky if nothing unforeseen crops up and they don't have to go get something else that needs to be dealt with too. We shall see. But it's going to cost about almost 10 grand, $9,000. We're close to it. Add taxes to it for my boss. This is a big expense for the company. It's a big ass truck. You know, we run pickups for everything else, and just getting somebody to even look at our truck costs $150 an hour. You know, it's just the nature of the business. So anyway, this is a Wednesday. This would be the 15th, I believe. I think it is. November 15th, 2023. Right? And yeah, I should button up again. I get hot a lot. I spend a lot of time outside, and then things get stuffy. Now I got this little fan going on over here, and it's a bit noisy, and I apologize for that, but I need some air circulating. I used to have a fan in here. My wife's got it in the other room, and it's just easier to leave it where it is. I got a window open here. We got a little Missy being quite patient and quiet down here. We put her in the cat carrier, what I call the box, so she's not literally up here in my face, because she would want to be up here, and she's still feral, and we're still working with her, so I mean, I'm not trying to stress her out any more than necessary. We've been letting her out of the room. She's getting out into the rest of the house a little more often. It's not as frequently as I would like her to. The wife immediately wants to put her back in here because she doesn't want her. They don't want fights with her. They don't want them getting in fights with the other cats and vice versa. But they gotta learn to live with each other. They got to meet each other. And then they got to determine once again, the dominant factor, who says Sissy is the dominant female in the house, and she lets everybody know. Including Doofus, Fluffy, who's the only male in the house, aside from me, and she lets she keeps Doofus in line too. She'll smack him they'll walk by and she'll break out and smack him sometimes. And then my wife like, what did you do that for? But, what do you do? So we're looking at cycle 17, and again, I've got my little buttons. I'm trying to figure out what's causing my problems the last couple weeks. For a while there, I actually had a paid subscription to this XSplit. It was costing me $10 a month, so every 3 months they'd hit me with a $30 bill that I just can't cover anymore at the moment. The this gave me some extra features, and when that stopped, the features were still engaged and they were causing problems because they weren't supposed to be working. So I rebooted the whole program and brought it back with just the basics. And so that means is what you can't see right down here. Yeah. Right down here by my right corner are 4 little buttons. One says open credits, filler, ending credits, and camera. That's for me to know what to switch between. And I probably need to put camera, ending credits should be at the end, not cameras. So I'm still working on it, right? So we looked at cycle 16, and the Xeno Scouts were successful. They did get a sample. They were spotted by some locals. Locals did come across the camp. And then the local panicked and fled. At that point, I thought, we're going to let it go. And we also had our customs pay a visit to our quote smuggler slash pirate, and was successful in seizing or confiscating the agromets, and so on. So we're going to follow at 17. Get down here. So we want to bring the Xeno Scouts home and put samples in R&D. We want to have, I want to send my intelligence minister to talk to, quote, this, I think it's a smuggler, but I keep calling him a pirate captain. Because, you know, there's something I said early on when I first started setting up the house, that you're allowed to allow a lot of put a percentage of your annual or your cycle tax revenue towards your what I call a black budget. And so I allotted like 5 credits every cycle to a black budget. And as of the moment, haven't tapped it for anything. So you figure 17 cycles. So we settled on cycle, I'm going to say cycle 6 when we laid down. So let's just say 11 cycles. So I have 550 credits piling up in this special account for the Black Ops, which means my intelligence minister can do things outside the normal channels that the house can. So one of the things I might want to do is to first off establish more information about this NPC. We would like to know if they're affiliated with another group, and if not, can we employ them? Because if I can, my intelligence ministry can hire them, then I can utilize them and their resources and their ship to do other missions that relate to intelligence gathering and other things like that. Not that I have a lot of that going on right now, but it's inevitable. We will see that, and it would be nice to have that come in. I would also want to send somebody from Intel men to seek out samurai. Now, I wanted them to do that because, once again, I can have my intelligence minister, for example, if we can locate the samurai, are they still on the colony? Are they still around? If so, can we talk to them? If so, can we employ them? The House Intelligence Minister could hire them as troubleshooters, as special agents, as enforcers, or as Sensi to train agents. And we've already tried to get them once using a different ministry, and they weren't interested. So perhaps if they don't want to be Sensi, they don't want to be instructors. So maybe they want to be field agents. Maybe they want to be security. Maybe they want a job, and if they don't, they don't. But I can at least try to approach them and make some further contact with them, and potentially develop a repertoire with them if I need to. Now, let's see what else we got going on. Let's see, Fred Dodge, Planetary Ranger. And let's see, Fred was... All right. Fred follows the local toughs. They lead them back to their safe house. This is the leader present. Solid. Yes. Can we find an identified leader? She's female. Is openly, can't see. She wasn't openly armed. Does she have a protector? Hard no. So she's pretty confident in her ability to defend herself and or carrying a hidden weapon. Blah blah blah. Basics and basic information. Is he spotted? No. Does she go to the safe house? Soft maybe. Is it in town? Soft maybe. On the outskirts? Hesitant? Yes. Are there more thugs present? Maybe. So, and I'm going to do this loosely because follow up on thug leader. I would like Dodge to. I'm of mixed opinions because I might try a different angle. I'm going to look at this before I get to that. But I need to. Fred's either going to continue with this progress because he's got a mission he's trying to achieve, and the other component here is. I know I have a current batch in my that my sensei at the dojo is training, and they're getting close to being complete and rotating to a new group of people. And in that case, I would replace the agent I have going to the training. And I'm thinking Fred should be the one that gets. So Fred would be out of commission for 5 cycles while he's taking this training, and then have another squad of my protector service or militia or somebody take that 5 cycle training as well. So we want to look at that possibly. And then I'm going to make a note just in case, or. Have agent infiltrate thug group, which might be another thing. So it might be wiser at this point. Get light in here. See, I had the curtain open, and the sun came out. It was glaring all everything, and now it's not. So potentially, I could get another agent and send that agent in undercover to try to join with the group, the thugs, and get myself an insider, which then would potentially allow me to really open up and establish the group, and go from there, and utilize it in some way. So we shall see how that one rolls down. And then we go look at Kara Carmichael. So Kara Carmichael, does she find out who's in charge of the Pirates Haven? She thinks she knows in charge. When any unusual and occurring? No. Waiting for the pirate in charge of the storage visit the bar. Do they show? Yes. So we know a 52-year-old male, Lanus, who's untried, so he's not human. He's not a human. Is head of their storage facility. Then I was at a loggerheads with this because, so let's see. Do I utilize Kara, who's already established herself as a barista at the little pub, the little bar that services the smuggler haven or the pirate haven, and do I risk that established character by opening a line of questioning with one of the pirates that potentially could out her and expose her as somebody that she's not? Or do I send in yet another agent to make contact with this individual, because we know that they got a load of electronics in or something. It's listed in here somewhere, and we would like to acquire it somehow. But in order to do that, we need to have we really need to, you could just carte blanche state, I send somebody over, I want the damn electronics. Man, they're going to give me the electronics. But yeah, that's a simple way of doing it. But do you really want to go down that road? Keep in mind, one of the whole points is to hear that sun coming back out again. So one of the whole points of this type of game system, it's solo play. generally speaking, you do this for yourself, and you do it to entertain yourself, and you do it when you don't have a lot of time on your hands, or when you have a lot of time on your hands, or you just, I don't need another way to say it, but there's so many times where we just don't have the opportunity to get down together with a group of people and play a game. And yeah, we can sit there and play video games, and yeah, sure, but those video games don't stretch your imagination. They don't work your imagination. They don't work a lot of aspects. They're dumb. And I mean, they turn us into dumb people. We just become zombies with that sort of stuff. I know, because once again, like I say, I play a shitload of Dwarf Fortress, and it's a frustrating game. I never seem to get past 150 dwarves before they all start slaughtering each other, or they piss off somebody who comes in and slaughters each other. It's just crazy. So Kara Carmichael situation needs to be figured out, and I don't know just yet. And she's also potentially a possible candidate to go into that dojo. Although, as I said before, pulling her out of her position means she's no longer undercover, and that would ruin her. She couldn't go back to that position, and I would either have to find some other way to infiltrate the place, which is not, we can do that, but what are you going to do? So let's see. This is my main Xeno Scouts. I took care of that. Street Samurai. Previous cycles. I died. Great. Yeah, okay, because it was the chief of the watch who went to negotiate. So my chief of my protector service went to negotiate with the Street Samurai and didn't have any success. All right. Okay. Can't think of anything right off the top that I need to add to that just yet, but I'm sure something will crop up. Meanwhile, like I said, we have just a handful of agents and operations going. I mean, if you really want to go down that hole, let's take a moment to look at what we've done. We've set up and established a colony on a unknown world. And we have made significant advances in exploring the planet, exploring the system that's in, and now we're exploring the systems around it. So far, we've managed to find a number of primitive societies on planets that are basically lacking the technological capability of getting off the planet, let alone long distance communication or anything like that. More likely, these were failed colonies back in the day that were abandoned or forgotten and have managed to thrive in spite of all that. And we have to figure out, we may or may not, you don't have to do anything. That's the brilliance of the game. But you don't, if there's anything I've ever done that was considered brilliant anyway. You don't have to pursue that stuff if you don't, but at some point we want to address it. And like I said, all these events have weird ways of kind of connecting themselves in unforeseen manners, and then they can go off into unforeseen ways. That's once again the brilliance of the game, because it's so unpredictable as what the results can be. And part of that is the fun is trying to interpret what the results are and deciding how to plug them in and how you want them to proceed. And so we've got Fred and all of his adventures, and we know we've got a thug group on the planet. They've already engaged in some illegal activities. They've tried intimidation. We also know there's a terrorist nut on the planet somewhere, which I've let kind of slide. I haven't forgot that the fellow's there. Fred hasn't forgot the fellow's there. It's just that nothing's cropped up that's been successful. So until an event roll triggers something that's related to the terrorist, then there's not much I can pursue on that. Meanwhile, we got Kara Carmichael. We know we have a smuggler haven on a planet, which was convenient. We want to tap into this. We want to exploit it. In some ways, we want to try. It actually gives our capital planet a third spaceport. So in theory, if the pirate haven if you can tap it enough and get it to grow, then you could justify having that third commercial role every cycle for ship traffic based on ships putting in at the smuggler haven. And of course, so we have an agent in place who's playing is undercover, and so we're getting information from that, and slowly gaining a wider view of this. We're slowly building up this potential opposing force for the house, or this potential ally for the house. That's the thing about pirates. Pirates for whom? At this point, none of these pirates have attacked anything I own, because I've only been in this area very short, a brief amount of time. So that means potentially I can tap them for other purposes and or exploit them in ways. It's just a matter of how creative you are and what kind of rabbit holes you want, which direction you want to take stuff. So we know this, and then we've sent exploration scouts to one of these 2 inhabited worlds, and unfortunately I killed the first group of scouts that went, because once again we didn't know that there was a virus on the planet, in the atmosphere, in the air, that was deadly to people that are not immune to it. And so I had to create the Howie suits, the hazmat suits for them to wear, the biosuit, the biosuits, the bubble head things that you see on TV, but this would be a little more robust, spacey looking kind of thing. So they and then sent them back, or sent new ones in their place to get damn samples from the atmosphere. Now we've achieved that, so they will bring them back this cycle, and as soon as I get a spot in my R&D lab, I will plug it in, and we will spend the next 5 cycles trying to find an antidote or something to counter the effects of that virus. Because once we can do that, well, then we can infiltrate. We can then take a more proactive, get more, send some agents into this primitive society to determine more about it as much as possible, and figure out ways that we can tap into it. And more importantly, how can we prevent others from tapping into it, that then turning it against us? I mean, because the event roles are that convoluted. That sort of thing can occur in this game. That's the one of the, I'm going to use that term a lot. That's the brilliance of the game. But we're looking at that, Kara Carmichael. Meanwhile, we've got a couple scouts out and running around. I know that there's a signal that had been found about that's guild related in a nearby system, and we want to. We know generally where it is. We know what system it's coming from, so I want to divert one of my scout ships to that system to see if I can't find out what's going on there. Because everything within a 10 light year block, so 5 light years in all directions from Fairwind, by legal, as far as the Imperium's concerned, is legally controlled and owned by House Fairwind, my house. And that means 5 up, 5 down. So we're talking 3D spatial space. That's a huge chunk of space. And you figure that on average there can be 8 stars per map. So potentially I have 24 star systems with suns in them. And of those suns, probably 60% have some kind of viable planet or moon or something on them for my people to exploit directly. And so you're talking dozens and dozens of potential worlds yet to be discovered and figured out. And so the potential's there. Meanwhile, we know that some of our platinums have been doing some stuff. We got one platinum that's being blackmailed, and we're still trying to get an answer to that. And I may need to take a different track with that. And it just occurred to me that maybe I need to add yet another agent and have this agent gain employment with my platinum, maybe with the tacit approval of the platinum, to be, shadow him around so we can be present the next time one of these this BS crap comes up, so we can get even more information about it. So there's that. So we know there's some internal shit going on. We got some social stuff going on. We've got outside stuff going on, right? And we're only about 11 cycles into the game. That's 11 weeks. That's 10 days per cycle. So we're not even in a quarter of a year yet. We're getting there, but the fact that our colony's only been around for a few months, and that's is what it is. Meanwhile, thanks to the Thug Group having tried to sell a unit of agramechs to the smuggler, well, they did. They sold it to him, and then we confiscated it, and then offered to reimburse the quote pirate smuggler, whatever the hell it is, for it, because I'm trying to avoid. Remember, we get bonuses for having bribed them if something comes up. So if there's a problem, we have a slight advantage now because we have an in with them having not only having not left the captain in the lurch on the stop, but it opened another possible window of recruitment, which is why I want to send my intelligence minister down there to have a conversation with that captain, see if we can get a little bit more information on it. It's like it's this the merchant ship that came from this other house. Well, we'd like more information on that. More importantly, where the hell are they? And how big are they? Ideally, they're not going to be any bigger than we are, because that's where the noble's modifier comes into play. So my house noble, being a squire, gets a -50 for everything when it comes to determining stuff like opposing forces, which is important, because if you look at the opposing forces charts, I mean, Jesus, you don't want a fleet of freaking pirates a pirate fleet showing up in your system, because you'd be screwed. I mean, you really would be screwed. You'd have to deal with that scenario, and I've never had anybody have that problem directly. So it'd be interesting to see how it gets embraced or how it gets fought. Odds are I would be terribly, if I was to go that lopsided, I'd stand no chance, because my minuscule little fleet, if you call it, it's basically 2 mining ships and a drop shuttle, 2 mining ships and 2 scouts with very minimal armament, very minimal shields, very minimal armor. They're not going to put up a fight against any warship whatsoever. They're going to get screwed. No, we would surrender and bribe our way out of it, because that'd be the easiest way, and then go from there. More importantly, we try to find out where they're hanging out, and we go crush them. But once again, that noble modifier makes a huge difference. My 30 to 50 guys versus their 500 guys. They're 500 pirates. No, not going to do it. Not going to do it. So, all right, so let's get on with this. And we're going to do cycle 17. So, and we get our main cycle going, so I need to go and dig some stuff out. And hopefully the sound's working okay. It should. I've done plenty of videos without the headphones. I got the headphones because I thought it would help give a clearer sound. And I have mixed opinions on it, because I don't think it works quite as good as I hoped and thought it would. Right? So, I don't know. Is what it is. I'm going to go down to get the capital first and go. I usually try to follow the same format every cycle. That way, it's like going to the grocery store. I follow the same route, the same routine every time we go, because it's just simpler. And then trying to bounce back and forth around the store and trying to figure out where stuff is, or stuff I don't know is at, or stuff I want. And I do that with the wife and stuff, so she knows where the hell I'm at if I wander off. She knows I didn't go very far. Where the hell are you at, damn it? Okay. Well, I guess we'll just walk our way down through this the way we find it. Usually easier that way. Alright. Let's take a look. We are at the GG14007N star system in an asteroid field belt. And that was Terra Sloop. And Silver Hunter is there mining. So let's get Silver. So let's see what. Geez. 2, 5, 7, 17, 27, 32, 37, 44, 49, 46, or 40, 50, 55, 56, 58. Alright, so we can get another round of mining. The beautiful thing about asteroid fields, and I've probably said it before, is the sheer amount of mineral resources available. And this one here, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different NRs there, which is great. So we will go Silver Hunter. And go down the list, right? 1 die 10, since it's a mining ship. We get an 8. There you go. So TV, Tiberium, or however it's pronounced, I now have 7 tons. And I had 57 plus 8. Because when I hit 100, then I'm done. I mean, it just... And I'm likely to fill up fast with this. So nickel at 3 tons on board. Now I got a whole, well, maybe I shouldn't speak that. I'm going to mine 1 ton of it, then that'll be taking a little longer. So there's a ton. That brings us to 66. And chlorine, I got 2 tons on board, and we're going to add another 3 tons. Yeah, we're going to nickel and dime this, aren't we? So 5, and that brings us to 69. Osmin, I can't pronounce it. Yeah, well, there's a 9, and that gives us 18 of that. So we doubled the amount in the cargo bay. And we add 9, that brings us to 78. And HG, there's a 4, so now we got 14 tons. And that brings us to 82. Titanium, or TI, 5 tons, 7, so that brings us to 12 tons. That's always nice. 7, so 89. Even if I don't top off, if I just get a bunch of 1s, I'm still going to send the ship back to the capital, because you know it don't make no sense to burn up supplies for a handful or a few tons. Anything under 5 or 6. If I get like 80% of my cargo bay, I'd rather run it back, and I need to adjust the consumables on the shuttle or on the ship. So the alright, so what is that? That was TI. So potassium, PO, whatever the hell it is. I got 6, 5 already there, so that brings us 11. And 89, so 94. And NA, so 6, which is ironic because 94 and 6, there's my even 100. So now that's at 15. I would have had RN, so I got down to the last item, and then I maxed out the storage. So returns to Fairwind. Great. So let's get Fairwind here. Find it, because I'll be able to unload all this shit into the storage, or into the oh, for Pete's sake, come on. Hardmore system, Hardmore, second chance. Oh, I'm just not going down far enough. That, yeah, I'm being a pain in the backside, aren't I? There we go. Second chance. Where the hell is the capital at? Second chance. We're in there. We're just really. Oh, come on, damn it. It's like it just dipped and disappeared. I'm not seeing it. It's probably right in my face. Probably right in front of my face. Yeah. Come on. No. No. That's the right system. I know I'm in the right system, so where the fuck's the cat? Right here in front of my face, damn it. I knew it, right in my face, just there wasn't any ship tags on it, so I was looking right past it. Alright, so bring that in here, and then I'll have to go and make sure I refuel it and shit. Go back to the asteroid field, because I have the sloop here, and it is getting really low on fuel. So I think I'm going to go ahead and send it back to the capital to replenish. Give the crew a couple days off, R&R, that kind of sense. So Terrace sloop turns to Fairwind to refuel. Alright, and let me go back to this back to the asteroid belt. All right, so past that. Now we're back to the Grapton in the Hardmore system, where we have the alien population of 63 million with an industrial base. See, these people definitely is something I could tap into and to exploit in some ways. It's just a matter of figuring out how. So let's take a look at our fuel and stuff. Oh yeah, and this one, the Kamari has to go back and refuel because it's got 1 ton. It's just got enough food and oxygen and water for the current cycle, and only has 2 tons of fuel on board. And we're not gonna, it'd just be dumbass to risk it. So. Turns to refuel. So. And yeah, see, now it's starting to look like it should. A bunch of ship traffic and crap. It's been pretty thin. Alright, so Ardmore system again. Make sure I ain't got nothing there. That one there, and then this is the Iron Hunter. It's at this in the Ardmore system at the exotic planet. Yeah, and it is mining for supplies. So let's see what we got. We have. You think of this? This is only a handful of ships. Wait till you get 20 of these things to keep track of. Jesus, I'd have to do videos in frickin' stages because at that point. All right. Iron Hunter. Mining ship. All right. So I have 1, 9, 18, 28, 29, 30, 39, 45. So 45. So we're going to start mining. Get 8 tons for that. That's nice. That's what I like to see. I like to see these damn ships turning around a lot. So 53. And lead 7 to go with 8 already got. So that brings us to 15. 7, 60. We get hydrogen, we have 9 tons. We're going to mine another 9 tons. This is what I'm talking about. This is a good roll. 18. And that brings us to 69 there. RA, random, I can't pronounce that word off the periodical chart. Add 5 to that, so now we get 15. And 74. PO. Got 1 ton. Let's see, we're going to add 8 ton. We're really getting the good mining rolls on this one. So 8 brings us to 82. MN 10. There we go. That brings us to 92. Either way, this ship's going back to the capital. GA 6 tons. That brings us to 15 tons. And so 6 and 92 is 98. That leaves 2 tons of DB. So we will see either get a 1 or 2. If we get more than a 2, it's just maxes out at 2. So we get 10, and that just means 2. I mean, so we only add 2 to our count because we only can store 2. And so ideally, we mined an additional 4 tons of durbium, the abbreviation of periodical chart is DB, and we only had room for 2 tons of it. So we just chucked 4 tons of this mined ore on the ground, and it will stay there for eternity. And the rules are, this is why we can't store, even though people argue, well, I can store iron ore outside. Sure you can, except our game mechanics doesn't want to go that level of detail. I mean, that's yet another level of detail. So you have a shitload of already on the plate, and so what we say is it's got to be either utilized or in production, or utilized in some kind of production or construction, or in a warehouse. It has to be stored. So if you mine more than you can carry, you just threw away the excess because it's too much. You leave it laying on the ground, kind of thing. So we get the Iron Hunter, and we're going to send, and it's technically got plenty of fuel and stuff on, or fuel and stuff and supplies on board. We're going to adjust those anyway because we're going to fly back. I could mine for a couple more cycles, or I could explore, and I can't mine and explore. So I could choose to leave the mining ship here and come back and do some further exploration on this system, because it really needs some more stuff going on here. I don't have much in the way of information on it other than its MR, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just is what it is. So looks like the entire Fairwind fleet has come home to roost. All right, so I think now bring this. Now I got to bring the Xeno Scouts. Bring the shuttle back too. Figure out where are you at, darn it. You're one of there. You are. So, and the San Kiro. We have to still figure out what to do with San Kiro. She's got plenty of stuff on board. We have bring the shuttle back, because the shuttle needs to be resupplied anyway. Yeah, it would have been one more cycle. Had I not, if I wasn't successful last cycle, I'd have made another attempt to gather a viable sample this cycle, and then next cycle the shuttle would have to come back to, and the shuttle, the Xeno Scouts and their escorts would all have to come back to the capital for replenishment anyway. So that takes care of that, and that brings. I want to go back here to my last scout. We'll get that taken care of. I've already had one idea I wanted to do, and now I can't remember what the F it was because I didn't write it down right away. My job yesterday, once again, welcome to my world. My job yesterday was involved in a town way up northern Iowa, so I went to shop at 7. Time I got, I had to take my van down and drop it off at the mechanic shop, and so it was a little after 8 o'clock when I actually hit the road, got gas, and then I drove to Mason City, Iowa. And it's about in my truck max is out at 65. It has a governor in it. So, and that 65 is being generous. You put a weight on that truck, and 63 is probably the standard for for highway travel. And so I get passed by a lot of people. And so it takes almost 2.5 hours to drive up there. So I got up there around 10:30, and I was up there for about an hour and a half because it's a hotel and a restaurant combo. The hotel has its own little grease trap inside. I do it every 6 months. That means parking the truck, getting the shop back off, coming in through the back, blah blah. And then the people that own the hotel also own an adjacent little strip mall that has a Caribou Coffee and some kind of noodle shop in it, and they have a big interceptor alongside the drive-through of the Caribou. Thankfully it's not in the drive-through, otherwise I'd have to do this at night. God, it would be horrible. Drive that far. It's hard enough as it is. So I drove up and listened to a lot of videos and stuff. I listened to other YouTube creator stuff. That's what I do in those 2.5 hours. And I'll hear stuff and I'll have ideas for things. And I'm like, I got a notebook I try to keep within reach so I can make notes and crap. Because even where you're bouncing down the road, you can still try to get something on there. And here's what it is. Part of getting old, right? So I did that job, and then I drove home. And by the time I got down to the sewer plant where we unload the crap that we pump, it was after 3 o'clock, so it was about 8 hours right there. Then I drove back took the truck to the mechanics, unloaded my shit from the cab so they could have access to the stick shift and stuff without having to fight my junk. And then went back to the shop and raked leaves until about 6 o'clock. So I got myself 11 hours yesterday. I got myself 13.5 hours on Monday, and I worked 5.5 hours since Sunday. So I'm already at about 29 hours, which is why I decided it would be fair enough to just take today off. And so I took the day off. Tomorrow I'll go into the office and do my invoicing, other paperwork, try to figure out some kind of schedule for next week. I mean, I have no faith in that truck. I'm going to work on the assumption the truck will be done when they say it is, and then I'm going to plan for it not being done when they say it is. And it's a holiday weekend to boot, so I expect next week to suck, hours-wise. If the truck is done by Friday or Saturday, well then by God I'm going to work Sunday and Saturday, at least Sunday for sure, and Monday and Tuesday, because I'm taking Thursday. I'm taking the 4-day weekend off next week, so I'm kind of getting 2 back to back, and it is the holidays, Thanksgiving. I don't know what y'all do here. It's just the wife and I, but we still act like we had people come around. So we're gonna put up we always put our tree up on the day after Thanksgiving, or the Saturday after Thanksgiving, because Black Friday will be a pretty hairy day, and I don't she's gonna be too wound up for dealing with the tree. But we'll put the Christmas crap out on Saturday, and I want to get the outside lights set up while the weather's halfway decent. Nothing like trying to do that crap when you're freezing your fingers off and the ground got hard on us. Meanwhile, so like this, is what it is. Such as it be, right? Welcome to my world. Not know that y'all hear enough of my crap anyway. I am apologetic about that. I really am. All right, so the Jan Kuro. Just what the hell do I do with the Jan Kuro? Technically, I ought to send her off to that guild transmission and try to track it down. Ought to, but I'm not gonna. Alright, so this is Keppett's Folly, Swamp World. 1950s industrial age civilization on the planet. So this is the other settled world. I need to get some color and stuff on that map, get that map made up a little bit. And so we have it. The system is 100% explored. Of course, it's Fairwind. So the planet's 60%. So we're going to explore Keppett's Folly. See what we get. And we're also gonna is she spotted by locals? So when you think about this, the scout ship is basically making a transit. It's flying fairly low. It's entering the atmosphere, and it's picked up one swath of the planet. So it's going to come into low orbit and circumnavigate the entire sphere and a 10% swath of it. And that's what we're going to do. So that means the ship's, and we're talking an industrial age civilization. I don't know exactly how many people are in here because that hasn't come up, or I didn't write it down and had to go back and track it down. But it's in the tens of millions, and so the odds are pretty. Think of 1950s Earth. We got satellites, we got primitive spacecraft, primitive satellites, we have rocket technology, we have aircraft, we've got jets. I mean, we got communications, things are developing. We're not into the computer age or nothing just yet, but we're starting to get there. And so the odds are pretty good that they're going to notice something flying in orbit. Now, grant you, this is not a very big ship. The Scout's the smallest class you can have, and so size-wise, it's probably on par with the Millennium Falcon for size. So, I mean, Anyway, we're going to go and find out if she got spotted by the locals. Not that they could do anything about. Well, I shouldn't say that because we don't know what they're capable of. And this might be an opportunity to get a taste of it, and I may not want to know. These bastards fire a missile off. Could that missile have a chance of hitting my shuttle or my scout and taking my scout out? Hell yeah, it does. When we talk a missile, we're talking something like a frickin' IBM or some tactical low orbit damn missile. So potentially probably packing atomics. Although this is not quite an atomic age, so this would just be explosive. Because atomic age is the next layer up when it comes to this stuff. I'm trying to find my just basic yes, no, or maybe chart. Yeah, there we go. Yes, no, maybe, no modifiers. So 48. Hesitate? Yes. Alright, so hesitant, yes, no modifier. Do locals try to intercept. And like I said, there's no modifier for there, so it's just straight roll. 75, oh gee, right, a solid yes, great. That might be an interesting scenario. We might have an actual combat situation on our hands. Hard yes, solid yes, solid yes. See, it's not enough to just say yes. So I have layers of yes. So you can kind of, I've never liked this clear cut on and off, yes or no. There should be layers of gray in there. So in order to have effective chart, you kind of need layers of, how positive are we? And in this case, we're pretty damn positive. So we rolled a 75, so we have a solid yes, which gives us a plus 20 modifier to anything that comes up next. So do they try to intercept? We'll use the most logical in my mind would be a plane. Will they send planes? Because that's what we do today. And that's what we would do. And so we'll say with planes, and we have a plus 20. And that's important. And once again, like I said, this is one of those things about the game. You're playing for yourself. You're playing solo for the most part, unless you're playing with another group of people. And in this case, that the 20%, the modifiers help you gauge the level of stuff. So, and then you have to use things a little common sense. So you don't want to risk getting hit by a tactical nuclear weapon being launched from a planetary surface that's potentially capable of doing that. This place isn't, but as a hypothetical, then you would put that down and roll your dice, and with a 20% positive modifier, you're probably going to have that happen. So I thought, let's try it with planes, because it makes sense that they would divert military planes, to try to catch up to my scout and figure out what the hell it is. Because, we don't know nothing about the dynamics of the planetary structure, socially speaking, down on the planet. So there could be, this could be multi-nation state planet that fight wars all the time. Typical Earth, right? So in this case, with planes, adds 20%. So now we got to add 20. So 89 plus 20. So yeah, 109%. Yeah. So now we have planes. And that means we will have to have a sit down and figure that one out. Let me move the front of my list. So Dan Kuro. Why did locals send planes? Which means, so I'll have to we'll do a video just on that, and I'll have to create a little bit of information. First, we determined 1950s technology, so this would be very early onset jet fighters, or very, very good, well-defined prop-driven engines. The question would be are they capable of even getting close to the Scout? Because the Scout's using technology that's extremely advanced compared to theirs and moves a lot faster, and she's high. So she's literally flying at the very edge of the atmosphere. So the odds are really good that if these are regular planes, they're not going to get up high enough, let alone get high enough, let alone close enough to actually engage the Scout. It's not to say they can't. They also potentially have rockets, crude missile technology. They won't have things like sidewinders. They don't have intelligent missiles, so it would be much harder for them to fire dumb rockets at an extreme range and actually have a chance at hitting them. I'm not saying they can't, but and then we have to determine how many. The odds are, at most, we're talking a squad of primitive fighters. More likely it's a pair, because once again we use the information we have available to ourselves to judge things. So on Earth, traditionally our fighters operate in pairs, and then in larger groups. So when we send interceptors to intercept UFOs, generally it's whoever's available that's closest, and it's usually only a couple planes. So that's kind of the angle that I would look at it. But there is a possibility. I've been in this scenario before, and I actually damn near lost a mining ship because of the locals having some much better luck at the rolls than I thought they should have a right to. But that is also part of the dangers and or the fun or the interesting parts of this particular game, in my opinion. Of course, I'm biased too. I mean, Jesus. Okay, so the Jan Curl, we'll have to come back and get that at a different point. I've been trying to dance around that possibility of an actual combat scenario because I have no idea how I'm supposed to video this thing in this tiny. Generally, I would have at least a map 2 or 3 feet across, 2 or 3 apart, plenty of room to maneuver. But in this case, we have to consolidate it and crunch it down. They still need to have some range factors, but spatial combat, anything dealing with the atmosphere or in the planet, is different for a number of reasons than on the ground. You don't have any kind of you don't have to really worry about obstructions and terrain and crap like that. And if the field moves, you just move the map with them. So it's easier to project than a ground combat scenario might be. All right, so we've established all that crap. We still need to roll for the planet and our exploration rolls, because otherwise that's about ready to completely blow that off. We don't want to do that. We want this place to get explored. So we need to update this to, say, 70%. And go back to my books. And once upon it, I thought about making cheat sheets for those things too, but the charts are just too freaking big. I mean, a quarter of this whole book is charts. I mean, it would kind of defeat the purpose. So let's see if we can find the damn. Let's find it. I have to hunt through 40 pages. We want planetary exploration, page 15. And lovely charts. So, which one of the 3 charts are we rolling on today? So, 84 makes chart 3. $38. Let's see. Okay. We got 30, what is it? 36? Semi-intelligent. Yes, alright. Semi-intelligent fauna encountered. See, developing worlds, designing flora and fauna. Okay, so while they were exploring the planet, they noticed some animal life on the surface, and we don't know nothing about it. So, geez, I wish I could have squeezed. I should have just squeezed that in on the previous page. Had a waste in space. Blah. Right. Okay. So. Put that over there for a minute. Go back to the capital. Alright, come on. Alright, so Fairwind. And we got, let's see what our population growth is going to be for the cycle. Yeah, 0.008 plus a random 1, 2, or 3. Yep. And traditionally, they never come up with a, have a little gray hair going on there. A little gray hair going on. getting more gray hair all the time. Getting life and age and stress. Anyway, they never come up with a 1D3 that was ever effective unless you got a digital version of it. So we'll do the old trusty fourth. You know, you might laugh about this, but I knew a guy back when I was in my 20s who literally carried a game. He had a dice bag on him all the time, and he actually had two, and one of them was nothing but D4s. And he always joked that he was ever in a situation where he had to run away from people, he was throwing these fuckers on the ground behind him. And I laughed at it because I have stepped on one of these things in the dark, and I'm telling you, this is worse than a damn Lego on a good day. So I rolled a 1, so that gives us a modifier population modifier of 0.108 times 11,700 people. And get my crappy calculator here and see. All right, so we're going to take 11,700 times 0.108 equals. So we're going to, no, right, 0, 1. Get that 1 backwards. God, you would not want that kind of planetary growth on a regular basis. Oh, damn it, come on. 700 times, Jesus, come on. Oh, you know, it's morning. I get this yet. 11,700 times 0.018. There we go. So now we're going to add an additional 210 population to my planet. So my people are growing, they're having babies, and new people are sneaking in that I don't know where they're coming from. So we'll take that out of the sleeve, and we're going to change. So 11,700 now becomes 11,910. When that matters, because like I said, all this adds up. It gives us a bigger work pool, more technicians, and increases the tax revenue as it goes up. And we're not rolling for planetary weather at the moment, so we're not worried about that. Okay, so that gets us on to the event rolls. Put that back in the sleeve so it stays. I mean, I suppose if you could get that, you can get erasable markers and write on the sleeves, and they're effective. I do that occasionally on some things, but usually on battle maps and stuff, but not so much on anything else. Okay, so here went population growth, planetary event roll. And that brings us back to the big honking chart. And planetary events, page 30. I had a little tag on there, but Frankie chewed it off. If you're lucky, that's all she chewed off. Sometimes I think she's half dog. All right, one of the 3 charts we have for planetary events. Which one? We're rolling 53, which puts us at chart 2. So chart 2, we're going to roll a 30 on chart 2. So chart 2, local platinum seeks to build an estate on the planet. That's a nice one. I like that one. All right. Seeks to build an estate. We will do a video specifically on that one because there's some stuff involved to it, and I kind of want to walk through it both for my own purposes and to share with you guys. Including the fact that the estates themselves can actually constitute a small village, depending on how you want to look, how you want to present them. And then there's the quality factor, or the quantity factor. So in this case, I have a platinum. I had 6 or 7 of them. I think 6 off the top of my head. 6 of them that came with me. I have no new ones that have showed up yet. So one of my original 6 platinums, the industrialists and bankers of my colony, wants to build an estate, and so he wants to build a fancy house, and most likely he wants that house outside the city. And the question will be is how far outside the city. If this fellow wants to build an estate on the other side of the planet, for example, that's quite reasonable. I mean, we can do that, and that would open up the window for a second settlement on the planet, official settlement. Smuggler's Haven counts as one too, and go from there. And if at that point we look at for any kind of future expansion. The other possibility is there's a pretty detailed subsection in the economics chapter on how to factor this sort of stuff in. By rights, the house lord, the squire of Fairwind, owns Fairwind. He owns the ground the platinum wants to build on. So the platinum needs to cut a deal with the noble. He needs to either buy the land outright or negotiate with the planetary leadership, the house noble. So the house will gain something out of this. In addition to that, the estate itself generates revenue. It consumes crap, but it doesn't produce anything but taxes. But it does add stuff. It does add it does add stuff, right? Just getting at it. So that's great. I mean, I like that, and I think it'll be interesting because we haven't done one yet, and there's so many things that haven't been done yet. All right, so we get that one out of the way, and then we want to get 2 ship traffic rolls. Ship traffic roll. Crappy handwriting. Jesus, that was terrible. All right, so we're going to go to ship traffic rolls, and of course, 3 different charts. 79 is the guild traffic. There's a lot of guild traffic in my system. No, I'm not complaining about it. I mean, those are valuable potential sources for all kinds of nice, nifty guild nifty things, but they can also have their share of problems. Not to mention the fact, obviously, there's a guild presence in my region, and it's pretty heavy. Since I've had every other cycle roll, it seems like I've had some kind of guild related something. So, all right, so 07, so that gives me a 7, which would be no, I'm already on the chart. So 07. Okay. Guild merchant arrives. Proceed accordingly. So it says here, guild merchant ship arrives. Roll hall class. Don't forget to apply your noble status modifier. Reports to the House Navy of having beat off a pirate attack in a system 4 light years away. So. Alright, so either my house admiral or my house warlord. So your minister of defense is the house warlord. That is the head of your military, and by definition that includes the Navy. But because of the Navy being quite a different kind of branch than the ground forces, and in reality it's an argument of which one's more important. The Navy has no need to exist at all if you have no ground shit to support it. Meanwhile, the ground stuff is kind of tied to the ground without the Navy to help move them around to support them. So that's one of those scenarios you take into account. So in this case, either probably would have my whoever I have tasked to be my admiral go talk to the ship captain to get that information on what light year this took place in. It might be worth sending a scout over there to investigate, although more likely I would send the sloop, the Taras, because it has a much greater chance of surviving an encounter with a damn pirate, because the downside is once you jump in that system, you're in that system for another 10 days until you recharge your jump drive. It's just kind of the way it works. So you either play cat and mouse or get whacked or not. It's a risky scenario. So in any case, we would also, it's a merchant ship, so it's going to be most likely class 1 or 2. Tech 1 or Tech 2 hull, a couple hundred tons of cargo on it at most, and we would treat it as that. So it's going to buy and sell from my planet. And plus, like I said, we have to have the minister. So when we go back to my notes, Admiral to meet I mean, this is one of those many event roles that you could choose to ignore. Speaking of that, I'm going to take a brief moment because I need to go use the pisser. And I would pause this, but I'm not 100% sure it won't screw it up doing that. Where Mom is at. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, because some things, like I said, I could pause this thing, and I have done that in the past, but it can be a bit tricky because the button for the pause is literally right next to the record button. And if you tap it wrong, or this computer glitches and it taps it wrong, well then I would just have wasted everything I've just done up to this point, which would be a real pain in the ass. Just saying. Okay, so we know that one. And that brings us, I'm going to leave a little space behind then. Ship traffic, number 2. So, we have 15, which puts us on chart 1. All these charts have events revolving around guilds, so there's still a possibility of running into a damn guild on your any of the 3 charts, right? So, ship traffic for chart 1, and we rolled a 95. Oof. What mad adventure is waiting me for on 95? Come on. $95. NPC house-owned merchant ship arrives. Okay. Alright, so I have a couple freighters, a couple merchant ships, a couple freighters that pulled in this system, which is good. I mean, we really like that sort of stuff, and so they're going to buy stuff. We're going to sell some stuff. This second one, once again, a quote house owned, and house owned That means obviously somewhere nearby, within 20 light years of this place, there is another established house, and how big it is, where it has to be slightly bigger than mine if they're operating this many. But that don't necessarily mean so, because merchants are strange. You could have a merchant ship, you could have an independent. This is another way of getting tax revenue. So in theory, you could have a merchant marine. You can negotiate with some of these independent merchant captains to hire them as employees, basically. And so what they would do then is instead of buying from you, you would stock them with your material, and then you would send them out, and once you locate where these other houses are, you could then send your merchant ship to their exchange to sell your goods to them and buy material from them. See how that works? So knowing where these places are is important for a number of reasons, but economically it's pretty great way to go. The other possibility is somewhere within 50 light years, because every quadrant has a trade world. Every quadrant that's established by the Imperium has some kind of trade world, and a trade world is a big boon to any house because it's basically an unlimited grocery store. You can go buy anything and everything at all tech levels there. It's just a matter of having enough credits to pay for it and getting it home. All right, it can be all kinds of adventures in and of itself. It can take a long time to develop to that stage, but you can do it, and I've done it, so I know this. I've had players do it. I know this, and I had a lot. I think the last time I did one, I had a trade where it was like 25 light years away, so it was almost the equivalent of two and a half sector maps away. And most of my ships at that point had an average movement like 4 or 5, so it would take damn near their entire fuel supply to make the trip one way to the trade world. And the trick here is to acquire enough of these merchants, so you build your own ships, ideally, or you contract others, and you put them on a schedule. So every cycle, this ship gets this much closer. Ideally, you would have, in this case, I would have 5 jumps to the trade world, 1 cycle there to do business, and then 5 jumps back. So we're going to do a total of 10 jumps. So it's going to take 11 cycles for that one ship to run the circuit, which is fine. I mean, and when you're at the early levels like I am now, I would still do that without a doubt, because it's going to allow me to acquire all kinds of stuff that's extremely hard for me to manufacture in quantity or to acquire here. Plus, trade worlds purchase our mineral resources at a high rate. The payout's quite high, and then so the manufactured goods that they manufacture in bulk are quite low. So you can the downside is you're going to make a lot more money than you can spend unless you're buying highly expensive high-end items, which you can do. So the trick here is to have 11 merchant ships. That would be an entire another folder all its own. And so maybe not quite to that scale, but it's a little bit of accounting. So the idea being is there's always one merchant ship of yours at the port, at the trade world, doing business, and then it leaves, the next one arrives. Now stuff can happen between, because remember, every one of those ships are not just ubiquitous. They have event roles that attach to them. Every time they enter an existing system, we have an event role for it. So this behooves us to explore a solid trade route between the two places. So I want to know every square on my map, on 2.5 maps, what's there, so I can send my ships on a safe. If it has to do this, so be it. But it might take a little longer to get to it. But I want them to have a safe path. And then I would then begin deploying comsats. Now the comsats have an average range of 6 light years. So ideally, you want one every 2 light years, because they start after 2 light years, they start reducing in their accuracy. So there's actually, can I communicate? Now, why is this important? Because once I know where this trade world at, I can set up an office there. I can have my Ministry of Commerce and Labor, for example, open a purchasing office on the trade world, which then means I would send potentially an ambassador to the trade world, which then means I get an event role for the trade world, which means I have access to even more possible stuff and other possible events that I can tap and make use of. Plus, with the communications ability at 1 ComSat per 2 light years, I would be at a sufficiently significant percentage of success for communications. It's like a 1% failure rate at that point, that I can then transfer credits between my house exchange and the trade world without sending an actual ship. So I could send additional credits to my purchasing agents on the trade world to buy even more expensive crap or to hire ship traffic one way. So another segue in this same line of stuff is that we have cargo pods. So we can purchase and manufacture cargo pods, and they start at 100 tons for a Tech 1. And at that point, you don't even need merchant ships. If you can get enough ship traffic that travels back and forth between the trade world and your system, you could then start shipping, just literally shipping cargo containers. At that point, we just determine how long does it take for them to get there, and did they arrive safely. And of course, the bigger the merchant ship, if you send it out on a 10,000 ton cargo cruiser, that's potentially 30,000 tons of bulk weight when you add the cargo potential in it. It has a highly successful chance of arriving in your home system, as opposed to one being on one of these little tramp freighters that have a lot further to go, and it goes faster. So the bigger the cruiser, the bigger the cargo ship, the faster it moves. You can reduce that. So over time, you build bigger cargo ships to send more stuff to that trade world, and reduce the amount of time it takes. And then there's actually mechanics in the rule books that allow you to set up a trade route. And so what we set up is, at this point, we just know we have this amount of ships and this amount of cargo capacity and this amount of cargo containers and whatever. And we're going to task what they're carrying, so we know what they're transporting. But the rest of the mechanics is just a matter of numbers. We just wait till that cycle, until the arrival cycle, to unload the crap and to send more stuff out. I'm making it sound pretty complicated, and it is in some aspects. So we want marker buoys every light year. So I would need 25 marker buoys to mark every light year as being a safe place for my ships and fleet to work. And then every couple of light years, I want a ComSat. So I'm going to have a number of satellites in this chain, which means I need to dedicate a satellite tender. I need to get a vessel that's designed to maintain and deploy these things. And I'll either manufacture one myself using a light freighter and tasking it to do that, which then means that basically it's tasked to this. So unless some event occurs that would cause it problems, we don't worry about it. Or we can hire a third party to do it. There are communications guilds. They will do all this for us at extremely heavy. You can get Comstar, my friends, to help you out. Question is, can you afford Comstar? Do you really want their help? So, I mean, it's just it's how this stuff plays out. I mean, there's so many opportunities, and crazy. So we know there's a merchant ship arrived, and that's the second one, and the event role. Currently, I don't have a whole lot else to do on this one. So let's take a look at. I'm just going to do odd and even. So let's do a 30-70. So under 30%, it's a Tech 1 hull. Over 30%, it's a Tech 2 hull. Unless the event role said it was bigger, I have to use my modifier, which is a -50. So it's very, very. I'd have to get an exact 100. If I get 100, then it's a Tech 3 hull. At this point. So once I settle another system. So I need to actually open up another colony in another star system within 6 light years of my capital. Once I do that, then the Imperium recognizes my house has grown, and they promote them to the title of Baron or of Thane. You go from Squire to Thane and go up from there. So in this case, we're going to say 84%. So we have a Tech 2. ship, so a couple hundred cargo tons of capacity on board. And then we'll do the same thing here for the second ship traffic. It's a 38, so it's still at Tech 2. Now, keeping in mind, like I said, since we know what goes into manufacturing ships, if we use the basic components for this tech level scale, the odds are probably pretty good that the ship can move 5 to 6 light years per jump and has a range of 4 to 6 jumps, and so that's quite a bit of range. Potentially, this fictional trade world, for example, these two cargo vessels could have came from a place like that, or their house, the house ship could be from a house that's literally 50 light years away. And the reason it's that way is because they're merchants, a roving merchant. And there's also the possibility that this merchant, while registered as a house ship, is just that, registered at a house, in a house as a house ship, but it's owned by a platinum from that house, who then uses it to make money. And at that reason, they would go further and further out, because they're looking for new markets and new possibilities and things like that. It's just a matter of how you want to look at it. So we now will both are class Tech 2 hulls, and so we're going to go and go ahead and see what kind of cargo we're buying and selling here. So let's get this back on here, and then we'll be done with this video. All these long videos, I always have mixed feelings on them. I mean, I don't mind listening to them myself, but all right, we need to go to somewhere in the 50s. It's pretty close to this. What makes sense anyway. There's friends organization, you know, special cargo. So this is cargo section here. Ship traffic rules, right? Okay. Guild traffic. Special cargo. Come on. Commercial freight. What I was talking about, see, commercial freight and passenger service. So in here it talks about how you can set that stuff up. Randomly rolled cargo. So first things first, yeah, and we got commercial freight costs. So if I want to ship 100 tons per jump in unexplored space, so if I wanted to pay a merchant to haul crap from here to 5 light years away so I can set up that colony, they're going to charge me 5 credits per 100 tons that I ship, plus additional expenses. You know, on a much larger ship, I'm gonna get it for three credits. You know, 3 credits per 100 tons versus 5 credits per 100 tons because of volume. And if I'm sending it in a route that's 10% or marked, you get a modifier 1.5, so you actually reduce the cost by 1.5. So low budget, speed modifiers, fringe services, commercial fleet and trade worlds, etc. There's a whole chapter in here on trade worlds. You know, eventually someday we'll come into that scenario. We will get to that point, and then we will have to go and expand on it. So, merchants buying and surpluses. Class hull is a 1D2 plus 1D3. So we will do, all right, 2. And I suppose I guess go odd and even on that. So odds 1, evens a 2 kind of thing. So we got a 2. So a 2 plus the 1D4, in this case 1D3, so 4. They're going to buy 4. So I'm going to buy 4 items from the exchange, so let's go take a look at what we're buying. See if they nice. Get the right charts. Everything's going. Vibrating its way off the back of the table. Alright. Prefabs and fabrications. Alright. So we know they want to buy 4 items, either manufacturer or mineral resources. So my micro chart 1 to 50 is MR, 51 to 90 is manufacturer, 91 to 100 is roll on the special cargo charts. So potentially they might be looking to buy special cargo from me, and if I don't have it, the odds are I don't have squat. So we have manufactured material. They want to buy some crap I have manufactured if I have it. So they want administrative materials. And I don't know that I have very many. I might have some of that. It's not something to use a whole lot of right now. So 92 is one on the special cargo chart. Well, shit. Now, I don't have anything that qualifies as that right now. So one of the things that would qualify for special cargoes, for example, think of all these flora and fauna roles that keep cropping up. These are roles that will allow you to figure out ways to exploit them. So, for example, that odd critter over there on that planet. If it turns out it has, if we can, well, the big bounder beast we're researching here. If there's items within it that's suitable for export, then we could create an industry that exploits that. And special cargo roles help us sell that stuff. Right? Same thing with like gemstones. So if you have a gemstone or exotic crystals or things like this, you can develop a market for them, and this allows you to sell that sort of stuff to merchants when they come through. All right? Yeah. All right. So in this case, we don't have any, so I'm just going to skip it. It means I'm going to re-roll, basically, and ignore that last part. So a 5, so you're going to get a mineral resource, and 97. They want water. So they want, in addition to their normal water, they want additional O2, which makes sense. And then 89, so 89 is manufactured material. 95, they're looking for textiles, which I probably have I might have some stocked up. That might be a good one. Last thing, so 43 is another mineral resource. So 49, housing material. Yeah, you're going to be hit on that one, Chuck, because I ain't selling that. So what we want to now determine is what they're selling. How much? What do they bring with them? All right. So merchant selling cargo, number MR being sold. So we got Tech 2 haul, which is 2 plus a 1d4. So 4. So they want to sell me 6 things. All right. So this is where we go back to that same chart. Now we're looking to get stuff, and in this case, we add an extra roll because we want to know how much stuff that they're going to sell. And I have to keep in mind that this is a cargo class 2, so at most it's got 250 tons of cargo capacity on board. So obviously, if they sell me 100 tons of this and 100 tons of that, that's it. There's nothing else to sell, no matter how many items I'm allowed to do. So in this case, 13 MR and 76 for the mineral resources. They're going to sell me rudium, RB. That's one of those items I was just mining too. So, all right, 16 mineral resource, another 96 water. Yeah, see, they're going to buy water. I don't like the idea whenever this comes up with a buy water and sell water. To me, that's just them trying to. They want to. There's some clever ways of manipulating your exchange when it comes to sales. So we know that we keep X amount of an item on the exchange. This gives us the 25 credits per cycle that we get kicked back from the taxes. So if a merchant ship comes in and buys 25 tons of that reduces us to 75 tons, which means we're now selling the remaining 75 tons at a higher rate than we were the 50 tons. We were selling the 50 tons at roughly 0.51 or 0.5015 or something like that per ton. So when we get to where we've only got 25 tons, we're now selling it at 0.7505 or 15 or something like that. And so you can actually buy stuff cheap and then resell it to the exchange at a higher rate and make money. You can do that. I don't recommend doing that on a regular basis, let alone your own damn scan. But in a trade world, that's acceptable. Another way to get revenue. But you can get stuck with it too. I mean, there are some checks and balances in play for that. At least I tried to make them anyway. So we're going to re-roll because I'm not going to have him buy and sell. So now we're at still in the mineral resources, 29 gold. Good old AU. Alright. Okay, so a lot of MR, 79. Silicon, SI, 41. Jesus, all you got is MR, which is possible considering he's out here in the sticks. He's probably sold most of his good shit. You know, at least that'd be my opinion. Neon. So now this is stuff he's picked up at other punky little places along the route that he's trying to unload. Little mining operations and things, and guild operations and shit like that. So 32 and more mineral resources. 32, 32. Yes, so we got hydrogen. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So we want more. 53 is now a manufacturing item. 45. God knows I could use hardware. Yeah, never get enough of that shit. Right? Okay, so then we go on to the next one, and it's the same scenario. So we're going to do a 1d3. We'll ignore the 4, so we're going to 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So they're going to buy 3 things. So 43 is MR and 37 lanthanum, LA, however it's pronounced. So here's another scenario, right? It's a matter of also you can have a little creative control. So we can look at these two merchants, and if one of them is selling me something and the other one is buying the very same thing that the other one is selling, what I would want to do is buy that material from that cargo vessel, that merchant ship, as cheaply as I can, and then ideally resell it. So I might go ahead and do that, but what you can't do, I mean, you can, but it's a form of cheating. You could, in theory, if I got 50 tons of LA in my cargo bank, and this guy wants to buy LA, and the other guy wants to sell me more LA. Well, I would buy the LA from that other individual first, because I'm going to buy it at my lower rate, which is going to increase my amount of material in my exchange, which is going to drop my rate. So then I will shift as much of that to the storage bay or to the storage facility as I need to bring down my availability numbers. So I could take that 50 tons and buy 20 tons from this first merchant at the 50 ton rate, and then take 50 tons out of that 70 and put it in my storage facility if there's room. This brings my production or my available stuff on the market down to 20 tons, and then I would sell that 20 tons to the other merchant. And so what I did was I bought the 20 tons from the first guy for half a credit a ton, and I'm going to sell the second potentially the same 20 tons to the second merchant at 0.75. So I'm going to pick up a nice fat profit for doing that. And if you can do that enough times on a regular basis, you can generate a lot of additional house revenue for your coffers doing that, if you want to go down that route. I mean, that's just one of those examples of all the wonderful possible crap you can do. So let's see, 61 is a manufactured item, 70. Another special cargo chart. Well, that's just it. I don't have special cargo to sell them right now, so there's no point to that. Go back to the mineral resources, 97. So they're going to sell me water. So there is no, they want to buy water. Well, sure. So everybody wants to buy water. There's one more item. So another MR, 12, boron, so B. Now we're going to see what they're going to sell. 1d4 plus 2. So 3, I get 5 rolls on this chart. And any special cargoes that come up, like the one I just rolled, is great, because this is the one I get to have. So, special cargo. Hi, Missy. I hope I didn't startle you. You didn't yelp or nothing, so that's a good sign. And we will go and look at special cargoes, which technically a lot of these little charts go right alongside that special cargo. So we got 2 charts for special cargo. And special cargoes are ubiquitous, are unique, because it could be actual items I want and need. It could be crap I have no idea what the hell to use, or they're so advanced I can't make use of them. Another thing to take into account, remember what I said. This vessel has about 250 tons of cargo. So I can only sell 250 tons minus whatever ideally if I buy him, I empty him out, then I can fill him up with stuff. And so the same thing goes when we're talking about items. So if I get a special roll that says he's carrying a Tech 6 cargo haul section for sale, well, that's not going to fly, because that's bigger than that bulk item, that ship component is bigger than his whole ship. So no, that's not going to fly. That would have to be re-rolled, right? So we got 2 rolls, 2 charts, and 71. So second chart, so 94 on the second chart. Ooh. And remember, any numbers below 10 and above 90 usually are either pretty good or really nasty, depending on which chart you're rolling off of. So 94, well, isn't that ironic? 1D satellites for sale at half the new price. So 1D10. He has 5 satellites. Now that's not just that's satellites, but there are a number of different kinds of satellites. That means we would have to go hunt down that little micro chart, if I can find it at some point, because I don't think I have one right here handy. No, prefabs, colonial fabs. Well, I could use the prefab fabrication chart. You just roll and ignore anything that's not a satellite, because the solar array can be a satellite. Gas collector, the Hag, although that would be way too big for these guys to carry, and it would probably bankrupt my ass trying to pay for it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to find the chart for satellites. It might be in the equipment guide under satellites, so I'll have to go look that up later, because it could be power satellites, communication satellites, marker buoys. It can be spy satellites, defense satellites. There's a number of them. I'd love to get a spy satellite, and I can stick it in orbit over one of these 2 damn frickin' primitive worlds I got, and really get some information and shit going. Okay. So that was 1. I got 5 more things to roll. So 61, manufactured material. So 71 is another special cargo chart. Yeah, okay. So 38 means cargo chart 1. Special cargo chart. 50. A personality arrives. I wonder, I doubt. Yeah, I don't think I have I got one for Genos, but I don't know that it includes a section for combat. Flora and fauna creation. Interstellar frontiers, quick social reaction charts. Sensor detections, combat page, NPC creation. Now that's going to give me a genome, skill sets, tech specialist, random professions. Oh yeah, okay. Personalities will work. That's what that basically is. Alright. So, personality. want to use that or not? Damn it. See if I can find personalities without driving myself crazy. Yeah, okay. Creating else characters, NPCs, training, technicians, tech specialists, personalities. Alright, let's go to 96. And of course I don't have... How do I not have a chart for these guys? How can I know I've got one somewhere, but where is it? I know where it's not. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, see, it's important when I talk. The reason I was going to originally use that professions chart, and then I realized I don't want to do that because platinums are a personality, yes, but that chart mostly concerns itself by platinums. But there's a lot of other personalities that are not platinums that can qualify as high-level technicians and things like this. So this is important. This is where we go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23. Oh yeah, and there's my damn chart right there. Jeez. Alright. So I rolled a 0 and a 9. That would be 9. So 9 is Imperial Researcher. An Imperium Researcher. This is a Tech 7 individual. This is quite impressive and quite useful. Really will give increase my my R&D facility. So it's like to find Imperial Researcher, because there's Imperium Professors. There's all kinds of Imperium shit. Alright, so the Imperium Researcher is a multifaceted scientist. He has spent a lifetime becoming the top of his field, a master in several more. The Imperium Researcher is far more than a mere science specialist. He might combine a level 5 health specialty with that of a level 4 administration, giving him bonuses in health, administration, and science, giving him bonuses in all three. He then utilizes them to develop bioorganic research or new subgeneric designs. Perhaps he's a level 5 software and a level 4 industrial technicians or industrial technician specialist, which then researches new robotic designs for his employer. Blah blah. So the point thing is here. So it's an example. Imperium Omniscient. With masters in astrotech and a senior level in industrial technician, while he can do any one of the listed specialties, his real value is in research, new or better component designs. Perhaps he studies on how to increase FTL capabilities, runabouts, etc., etc. You know, it just goes on. You know. So it says up here, so when a house character or an NPC becomes more than a mere ranking or technical skill, they can earn classification as personality. Key roles in any houses are assumed by thingies who require just a bit more detail and upkeep than the average flunky. So this individual is most likely going to, they're here for a reason, so they're looking for a job. I can carte blanche state that. I'm pretty confident that's what they want. They're in it for a job. And so I can proceed from that point, hire them, negotiate with them, hire them. It's just a matter of how much they want to get paid every cycle and what their personal, demands or needs may be, and then I plug them into my research, my R&D lab, and my R&D lab gets benefits from having a high-level technician in charge of everything, because it reduces the amount of lower-level technicians required to operate stuff or to do stuff, and or expands potentially with this additional researcher. I can open a third or fourth lab in my R&D building to further investigate other stuff that they want to do. So this is definitely something worth looking into and getting. So I want to go back to finishing. This video is already running long. I know it runs long. I know it runs long, my friends. Alright, so we are going to go back to the regular chart, past all the special cargoes. Come on. Ship component charts. Oh, my fingers kept wanting to go that extra page, and I just was resisting it. So I have 2 more rolls, 2 special cargoes, which is interesting. Alright, 98, which is rolling a... Really? Okay, weird. This is a weird one. Special cargo, number 3. Are you effing me? Like I said, we've been lucky so far. We can get a bad special cargo too, and we don't want that. Oh, alright. Fine. There you go. A gray dice on a semi-gray floor. Nice. Alright. So, chart 1. And chart 1. 93 on chart 1. Really rolling. This is the downside of rolling really high and really low numbers. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. We could live without that. Damn it. A load of infected seed gets delivered. Unknown virus infects foodstuff production. D100% in the FD production on the planet is lost each cycle until a cure can be researched. Isn't that convenient that I got a damn researcher that showed up at the same time I got a damn virus for my damn plants? So we're going to... Oh yeah, my God, these damn rolls are killing me. 94% reduction. Yeah, that's not good at all. Right, so I know right off the bat where this ass clown's going to go. He's going to have to research a way to fix that problem. Oh, geez, it just gets better and better, too. Alright, a load of infected seed gets delivered. An unknown virus infects foodstuff production. In this case, I rolled 94% of the food production on the planet is lost each cycle until a cure can be researched. Population becomes alarmed. Consumable demands on a planet triple as they hoard. Roll a satisfaction roll for each cycle until the problem is fixed. Jesus, I just love this. Love it. I don't at all. And this one can be a pain in the ass. Such is life, right? All right. I gotta remember what the hell I'm writing down first. I know it's. Yeah, so there'll be another event roll just dealing with this crap. Or a video just dealing with this crap. Okay, special cargo, infected seed, delivered 90 for produce food per cycle until cure found. This is bad. Demand triples. Roll satisfaction chart. Yeah, because if things get bad enough, this could turn into a very bad problem. This could actually destroy the colony. I mean, if it isn't worked out some way to be beneficial to me, I'm going to have to. Well, we're lucky in some weird. Remember what I taught when I go on about how stuff connects, how things tend to, connect the dots. So in this scenario, not too long ago, we knew the agramets. So we acquired some agramets that I plan to plug into my agri exchange this cycle, which would produce, I think, increases production like 10%. So we currently produce 50 tons of food per cycle. We currently use about 12 tons a cycle. And if we can increase production by 10%, then we get 60 tons of food per cycle. And at this, which the surplus is what we use to restock our ships and to sell to passing ships. It's a big revenue source for us. So now our big revenue source has just been crunched. Worse than that, the food prices are going to go up. So I have to look at what the food prices for, or the food demands. In this case, if I'm using 12 tons, my demands for each cycle is, my population is 11,000. So that's 11 tons by itself. So 11 tons, and then whatever my various builds, factories and housing and shit require. So 11 tons of food per cycle to feed the population. And I have going to lose 94% of that production. So I'm only going to produce 2 tons of that 12 tons, if I'm lucky. So I am going to not come close to what my population's demand is. And because the event says the population panics, that means they go into a hoard mode. All you got to do is go back to the beginning of the pandemic. Remember the entire aisles empty of toilet paper? That's the kind of shit we're talking about here. So except food. So they're going to hoard what they can get because they're going to panic. And so my cycle production demand is going to be 3 times what I normally do. So if I need 11 tons for my population, I now need 33 tons. And on a good day, I was producing 60. I could easily meet that. I am not producing that now because of the virus killing off most of or ruining the food production, most of it, then I'm at a very big disadvantage. So I need to have outside food. So this is another reason to want to have other colonies in your house that can produce crap. Because if I had other plants with agriculture, their surplus can come to my capital and help alleviate the problem. So this brings us to the third component, which is a social unrest. Basically, we're going to have riots in the streets and people murdering people, attacks on my house, Lord, and things like that. How desperate do the people get? How panicked do they get? And how do I mitigate that panic? Right? I have no great cruiser here to sell me hundreds of tons of food, and I don't have hundreds of tons warehouse, which is another reason for that very reason is to have a surplus of certain things. And this would be one of those things. Food, water, oxygen, those are critical components, food and water for sure, and followed by fuel. And if you want to keep your ships running, then you need oxygen too. So, I mean, this can deteriorate pretty quickly. And I don't have a lot of options right now. I can't reach out and ask for help, right? My only saving grace at this moment really is this arrival of this researcher, because if I can tap his abilities, I can probably expedite and speed up my finding increasing the odds of being successful. Because remember, we're looking at buying a chance at getting an advance. So I'm going to invest 5 cycles of research and credits to that research to get a cure for the virus, but what I'm doing is getting a chance to get a cure. I'm 5 cycles so I can make a roll to see if I was successful. If I was successful, then it's not a problem. If I fail, then it's another 5 cycles to continue researching until, we keep researching until we find something, or we find an outside source to help us with the problem. And that involves negotiation and contacting people. Well, right now we're dependent on people coming to us. So our resources are very limited. But now I have some incentive for like that smuggler captain and that I'm looking at tapping. Well, maybe I need to tap these third-party sources to bring in a steady supply of food to keep my planet from killing itself. And that's something we're going to have to address over the next couple cycles, at least the next 5, because it's going to take that long. It won't be till this cycle 17 when this occurs. It won't be until cycle 23 or 22, the end of 22 or beginning of 23 when a chance of it being resolved. So another way for me to help with my problem would be to settle another settlement in a nearby, preferably in a nearby system, because I could probably, the ones I got in my system have got problems other than my capital. So I would open up an agri colony somewhere, for example, drop a couple hundred people on a planet, build an agri concern there. Takes resources, credits, shipping capacity, time. Right? So we will have to cross that bridge when we get to it. So that is 3, and I still have 3 more freaking rolls. For the love of God, no more specials for the rest of this damn freaking video. God damn it, let's get on with this thing, get over with. 57 is a manufactured material, and 63, for a minute there, that was another damn 9. Yeah, you know, 63. 63 is medicine. Well, that's nice. And we're going to do the D100. The positive sign of these 3 specials is they didn't take up any cargo capacity. Yeah, they took up no cargo because the sats are being sold by the other guy, right? What's the sats going to be? No, 5 sats. So potentially, I'm going to have to lot 100 tons, so no more than 150 tons bought and sold off the exchange for this guy, because those satellites are going to take up probably 100 tons of space. So 96, what the fuck is with these 90s? 96 tons of ME. That's not bad. I mean, I'll take that any day. That'll fill a missing slot on in my exchange. More importantly, it gives me medical resources. So medicines, bandages, medical equipment, all that crap fits under this catch-all phrase for that sort of stuff. So it's nice to have that. That brings us to 4. So 08 is an MR. So he's selling Dinidium DB. And we know he's got 95 tons there, so I only got about 55 tons capable left over, so there's 30 tons. And that would be, so we've only got 25 tons of cargo capacity left for whatever the hell shows up here. And one last roll, and fucking 90, god damn it. And my temptation is great. I really want to re-roll this fucking 9. I mean, Jesus, it just drives me nuts. But we can't do that. So 93 is yet another special fucking cargo. This just 4 special cargoes on one ship. Fucking number 4, damn it. Excuse my French, folks, but jeez. Alright, which special cargo? 41 is cargo chart 2. Alright. And there we are again. You look at this shit, fucking 9, a 9 and a 9, 99. That damn 9 has come up 8 out of 11 rolls. Jesus. 99 on the first chart. Blank Guild Enforcer ship arrives, Roll Hall class. On board is a security force for blank outpost, a GRO and or other guild-owned colony nearby. Okay. Great. So, ironically, this is not with the ship. The ship brought it along with, so they were either being escorted by. Now remember, is this the guy that was attacked by pirates? I don't know if this was the guy that was attacked by pirates or was the first guy. No, the first guy was the one that got attacked by pirates. Alright. So, don't know who or what guild. So we got 99, we'll write that down so you can come back and find it. So what we're looking at here is a blank guild enforcer ship. So we have to determine which guild it belongs to. And an enforcer ship to me it's a warship. It's a military transport. It's transporting military defense. security forces and shit like that. So on board is the security force for blank outpost, or the guild regional office, the GRO, or another guild-owned colony nearby. So once again, I'm going to have to go to this damn ship. I'm going to have somebody talk to the damn captain and find out what freaking guild they belong to, and more importantly, where the hell is this other place that you're going to, that you want to, or that you're going to take this defense force to. And I may want to know just how big. Now, based on my house, the house modifier, once again, this is either a class 1 or class 2 hull, very unlikely to be anything bigger. And then the security force is not going to be much more than a platoon at most, because that would be in part with what my house could officially tackle if it was necessary, and it would not be overly well armed, right? So, yeah. I had a thought for a moment now. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Just stuffy in here. I'm feeling warmer than normal. I don't know. I know the wife's already gone. By now, her friend's supposed to come pick her up, so I don't know. And I still got to do a couple more videos after this one yet. And I don't think it's going. It's only a little after 10, so you know. The only thing about this particular cycle event, it's the biggest because it takes the most time to do. So we want to have somebody meet with the Guild Enforcer ship to figure out what and where. Because once again, I know that we was talking at the beginning of this video that there's a lot of ship traffic or guild traffic in my system, and this just keeps reinforcing it. It seems like every damn cycle now, or damn close to every cycle, I have had some guild ship come through the system. That means that the guilds have to have something nearby. Wouldn't that be uberly convenient if they were an agricultural guild? Because man, I could tap them on a number of levels. Could ask them to help research. Maybe they even have, a cure for this damn problem. Meanwhile, there's also that possibility of, did the captain bring in this cargo know his stuff was infected? Is it a natural infection, or is it man-made? Is it something that was meant for somebody else, or is this a competitor I'm just now beginning to become aware of that's trying to sabotage me, sending me seed that's corrupted my agricultural production? I mean, it's one of those things where you have to go, do I want to go down that rabbit hole, and how far do I want to go? Because I could tap. Remember, we only have a limited amount of research space available. So ideally, if I had bigger resource facilities, I could assign people to figure all that out. I could have somebody figuring out, exactly how the seed was corrupted. Is it natural or not? I could potentially have another group research where the seed originated from. Is this a biogeneric item that's found across the Imperium, or is it something that can be narrowed down to someplace more specific? Then we would also have the Intelligence Ministry do an investigation on researching the containers and product that all this stuff. Can we narrow down who manufactured it, who produced it, where did it come from? Is this a off the shelf kind of thing? Can we sue somebody? The potential list is as endless as your potential ideas for what you might want to do on it. So anyway, we have moved our ships. They're all back at the port right now, getting resupplied, which is probably a damn good thing, because if I'm going to have a sudden crash in my damn food supply, I may not be able to resupply my ships at all, and God forbid that they'd have been out in the field when that happened and unable to return home. I would lose the crews and have the ship floating around out there, and potentially somebody stealing them. So let's see what kind of reserve I currently have. Well, shit. I have 54 tons. I'm currently using 21 tons of food per cycle. 11 tons of that goes to the population. The other goes to my factories and my concerns, and it's important because they need to operate. So in order for my factories to operate, the people working there need to eat, and they need to eat at home. And I will need to come up with, let's see, 33 plus this additional 11, so 44.2 tons of food every cycle to keep my population from freaking out. And I'm still going to have to, because I could use the modifiers, excuse me, their needs are being met as long as I have the food on hand to answer their demands. The downside to that is I have 50 tons of production coming up on this cycle. I have currently 50 in the exchange, so that brings us to 100, and I have 54 in the warehouse, so I have 154 tons of food. And right off the bat, I'm going to use 33.2 or 34.2, excuse me, 54.2 tons of that food this cycle to meet the panic demands of my population and the law, and to account for the loss of what's being destroyed. So I have about not quite 4 cycles, because each cycle I'm still going to produce 50 tons of food, but that 50 only I'm only going to produce out of that 50 tons, there's only going to be a couple tons that are going to be usable. So let's say 3 cycles at most that all my food needs are met. After that, I've got a big problem, and I got to find a way to address it. So there's a couple really slapdash ways of going about doing it, and one of the problems was setting up any kind of agriculture, because you could use, in theory, you could use Tech 1 or Tech 0 builds. So when I told you, you know what, those two, I may also have an immediate solution to this problem in the short term. The problem being is I have 2 viable colonies of independently established lower technology worlds, one within my own system and one nearby. Now, I can't claim either one of them because I'm not in a position to do that. I don't have to meet the requirements to let me to do it. But I could approach somebody on those planets. I could send an intermediary, or I could send some agents there to approach one or more people on that planet, on one of these planets, to purchase food, because they're going to have food production, and I imagine they have quite a lot of it. So I imagine they meet more than their demands for food. They may not. That's part of the research we'd have to do to determine if they can. First, I would need to immediately send, at the end of this cycle, I need to retask my drop shuttle and send it over to preferably the planet that doesn't have a virus on the planet, and land and determine whether or not there's a damn virus there that will kill them. The only way to do that is the canary in the coal mine, because I don't have time to devote research to it. I need to get results quick, so I need to land. I need to take my open risk. Then I need to approach a local, somebody with, you're not going to, the local swine herd is not the person you want to be dealing with. You need to find somebody with a little bit of oomph and pull, but you don't want to freak out the planet either. And so it's kind of a tightrope. It's dangerous. And then you have to figure out how do we purchase this stuff? What is it that they, their economy is not going to be based on the Imperium economy. So I'm not going to be able to roll in there with Imperium credits, because they're not even going to know what the hell even if they knew what they were, they wouldn't be able to use them because they're not in the Imperium banking system. That's just the way it works. So I need to find something that I can trade to them, which I have a lot of manufactured material, so I could potentially trade materials with them for foodstuffs. And we just have to determine a fair rate of exchange and how to go about doing it. And then we have to figure out how do we arrange for pickup. Obviously, they're not going to deliver because they don't have the technology level to have spaceships yet, let alone starships. And they're not supposed to be affiliated with anybody else as far as the game is concerned at this point. So they're not going to have somebody, unless I get a third party involved, which has risks in and of itself. I would otherwise then have to devote one of my 2 mining ships to running cargo back and forth to keep that food, because I'm going to need that food supply. I'm going to need to bring 50 tons of food every cycle. I need to bring 33 tons of 33 additional tons, or in this case, if we do the math, 22 additional tons of food every cycle needs to come in. But that just deals with that. Then we also have the social unrest, or the social segment or section or piece of this, and that is something we have not had to do yet, and it involves a little bit more shit. So let's go see for a brief window in it. I know the video's running too damn long. God damn it. Yeah, of course I'll have to freaking find the damn thing too, right? Social software, some questions asked. Songbird flock special. Yeah, I'll have to go hunt it down because apparently it's not. I've got it listed in here as something other than what I'm calling it. Planetary satisfaction modifier, or population. Let's look at population. Looks under P. Personalities, pirates, population satisfaction. Right, I was looking for something. I don't know what the hell I was looking for. I wasn't looking for the right shit. 150. Well, we ain't been to that page in ever. A while. At least it feels that way anyway. We have planetary satisfaction versus NP satisfaction. So the measurement of attitude and belief in the House Lord's rule. This can be applied to both the world's population for the mercenaries employed by the House, or when the House has dealings with third parties such as guilds and fringe organizations. As thorough as satisfaction checks, through satisfaction checks, we discover how certain events and situations affect the general population, etc., etc. So, and we look at some modifiers here. Number of cycles the seeds needs to go unmet. So if I can't meet the food demand, then every cycle I have to roll on this chart, and I get a -5 for every cycle. So if I go 10 cycles without meeting their demands for food, means people are starving to death and on starvation rations and rations and shit. I'm going to have a -50, and they're going to the planet's population is going to self-destruct. A bug invasion gives us a -25, blah, blah, rumored, this, that, there's a lot of matter. There's a lot of shit here. I'm not going to go through all of it. Population satisfaction chart. If I'm lucky, they riot or they panic. So the worst case scenario is the population riots. Madness erupts across the planet as local citizens panic. Factory production for the cycle stops as workers abandon their jobs, which is important to note. If I don't have food, my factories certain requirements. So my certain builds require input to produce crap. So if my factory needs food production, and even if it's a tiny amount, maybe it's only 1/10 of a ton per cycle, and I can't meet that, then my factory shuts down, which means no production whatsoever is coming out of that factory, which is detrimental to the problem. It just expedites, it makes things worse, and potentially increases the problem with the population, making them further want to reside. Consumable demands quadruple. While elements of the population form lynch mobs, local toughs and gutter gangs enjoy a holiday by pillaging everything they can. Roll a D100 in credits of damage and losses to the house and taxes. Roll 1d3 random builds that suffer damage from fires and the riots, and roll a percentage of damage inflicted on bulk. So potentially, that same factory A could get, see 89% of it burnt to the damn ground, and then I would not only not get the production from it, I then would have to go through all the effort it would take to rebuild that damn factory. So another incentive to build additional factories, and even more incentive for those additional factories to be located elsewhere. If they're going to be on the same planet, let's put them in a different city, because some of these events can affect regional areas. So the whole region around the capital could be affected, and the rest of the planet not affected. That kind of crap. Or we build them on another planet altogether. So I mean, there are possibilities here. Like I said, I hadn't occurred to me of using one of those two primitive worlds for a food source. But this might, at some point, you want to trade with them anyway. This might just force the hand, force my interactions faster. And there's some advantages and some disadvantages to doing that. So at the end of the day, that's what we're at. So it looks like for me and cycle 7, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where are we at? That's not right. Get up here. Get up here, damn it. On the right page. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9, maybe 10 more videos for channels or for cycle 17 to get ourselves through all the components that go along with it. Anyway, there you go. Hope you guys have yourself a great weekend, and all right. It just irritates me to no end.